historical thing that's
Okay, it's rolling.
happening to make a documentary.
Thank you.
Are we recording?
Yeah, we're rolling.
Oh, nice.
Yay! Okay, hi, it's Althea, and I'm going to justify the documentary short about Occupy LA. So obviously it's a documentary short, and it has to do with breaking the rules because technically a lot of these protesters broke the rules by assembling without a permit, and then a lot of them ended up staying the night, which they also weren't technically supposed to do. Um, it's also about the rise and fall of, I mean, for the really extreme protesters, it's about the rise and fall of the government, and for the less extreme protesters, it's about the rise and fall of sort of the middle class in America. And it also has to do with love, because a lot of these people were there supporting people that they loved that had suffered because of the economic crisis, and also because that's kind of a catchphrase of the Ron Paul supporters, which there were a lot of those there too. And it has to do with history because it has to do with the history of our nation and what's going to happen in the future. And it has to do with public performance because there were, as you will see, a lot of public performances. And it also has to do with ambition because these people are really ambitious. They're trying to accomplish something really large. It has to do with the debate. There's a debate, well, not really a debate on camera, but there was a lot of debating going on and a lot of discussion going on about what needs to happen. It has people in costumes, like crazy costumes, as you will see. And there's also a reversal, and that's what they're trying to accomplish, is a reversal of the trend towards losing public services in favor of bailing out private companies. And it has to do with a quest, because they are questing to make the country a better place to live in. It has the ideogram. There's a lot of different ideograms in the short. You'll see there's like a lot of different symbols. And it has a moral dilemma because the protesters are basically trying to decide whether or not it's okay to disobey the law in order to protest something they believe in. And body horror because there was a lot of really horrible stuff that went on at the protest. You'll hear the discussion of it. Protests in New York, protesters getting like maced and really bad stuff. And it has to do with polar opposites because there are people there from all different like political persuasions, and there's quite a few clever quips in there, and emotional disconnect because the people feel that they have there's a disconnection between the politicians and the people, and that they don't care anymore about what happens to sort of the general population, and it's a detour because these people have jobs, they have lives that they're taking a detour from specifically to try to make a difference. And it also involves a chase because they're chasing after a specific goal. And it's about hubris because it's mostly about hubris for the politicians and the government because they sort of arrogantly assumed that the people wouldn't do anything about the situation, and now they're being proved wrong. And it involves signs because there's a lot of protest signs. And computer crashes because I don't know if you guys know about the hacker group Anonymous, but they were very present. There were a number of people there from, or claiming to represent Anonymous, and they crashed computers, and they also crashed websites and a lot of other things. And it has to do with rejection because, as you'll hear, a lot of people got rejected from their jobs. They couldn't find anywhere to work, and they're also rejecting the situation that they're in and rejecting the policies that have been enacted. It has to do with families because there are a lot of people there whose like their entire families there with kids who like they're in a really bad situation and they've had their house foreclosed or something else, and so it's infecting their entire family. And it has to do with betrayal because they feel betrayed by the government and by the corporations. It has to do with deceit because they feel they've been deceived, that they had expectations that were not met. And let's see, it also has to do with in another man's shoes because I spend most of the time talking to people trying to figure out why they're there and relate to their situations. And it has to do with the search for freedom, obviously, because they're trying to be free of the horrible situation they've been put in. And it has to do with the idea of a phoenix rising from the ashes, because a lot of these people are trying to rise back up after being knocked off their feet by the economic situation. And okay, so I'm using the equal footing card because I actually ran into more than one USC faculty member while I was there and talked to them. And also, it's a shared universe with the artifact submission that you've probably seen, and the artifacts that are from the actual protest. And I'm using restore, which is not doesn't need to be justified. And I also got help from this from Mike and Madeline. And that's it. So, Mara out.